After 1848, we have two major areas which are now going to fight for their unification. The first one is Italy. See the map of Italy. Okay, the only area which was ruled by an Italian king, this was Piedmont and Sardinia. Okay, these two areas were ruled by an Italian king. Rest of the territories, Lombardy and Venetia, they were under the control of Austria directly. These small Parma, Modena, Romagna, Tuscany, they were under the control of Austrian princes. Rome was under the control of Pope. Naples and Sicily, they were under the control of Bourbon dynasty of France. Okay, so Italy was very divided in nature, and this required some form of trust so that it could get unified. In fact, in 1848, Charles Albert, he was the king of Piedmont, Sardinia. So याद रखो इस नाम को, Piedmont and Sardinia. So its king was Charles Albert. So Charles Albert, he tried to fight against Austria, but in 1848 and 1849 he was defeated in the two famous battle of Custoza and Novara. He was defeated in Custoza as well as Novara. As a result of this, okay, as a result of this, what happened? He had to abdicate the throne. The throne was passed on to his son, Victor Emmanuel II, and the unification of Italy was bound to happen in the future, but somebody else was going to lead this. Okay, so let us just see quickly the unification of Italy. Before Napoleon, it was a patchwork of small state. When Napoleon captured Italy, he divided into how many parts? 3 parts. 3 parts में उसको divide कर दिया. Okay, he divided into 3 regions. But this was completely split off again by the Congress of Vienna. Just we have discussed, ये Congress of Vienna के time पे ही हुआ था, इतने parts में उसको divide कर दिया. Then the key players, the kingdom of Piedmont and Sardinia, it was in the northwest, and this was going to play a crucial role. Austrian Empire, it controlled northern Italy, Lombardy and Venetia, as well as some of the central Italian states like Tuscany, Parma and Modena. Papal states, they were ruled by Catholic Church in central Italy. And the kingdom of two Sicily, Naples and Sicily, this was under the control of Bourbon dynasty. So Italy was completely divided. It required a lot of strength. It required the work of many people who are going to be responsible for its unification. So if we see the process of unification, first initial work was done by Napoleon. Then we see rise of many secret society. The most famous secret society, it was Carbonari. It was a secret society of coal workers. They used to have meetings and they had 2 objectives, that we are going to ensure जितना भी foreigners लोग हैं इनको इटली से बाहर निकाल दे, and second we are going to give the lawful help to our countrymen. So this was the objective of Carbonari. In 1848, as we have just discussed, Charles Albert, he tried to fight against Austria by war. However, he was defeated, and that's why he has to abdicate his throne. So this is till 1848. The major process of unification only starts after 1848. उसके बाद ही start होता है. And 3 people played a very important role: Mazzini, Cavour and Garibaldi. Mazzini is just like we have Mahatma Gandhi in India. Similarly, we have Mazzini in Italy. He was somebody who was a believer in Italian unity. Second is Cavour. Cavour, he was a very pragmatic politician, and he was from the Piedmont, Sardinia itself, and he wanted to utilize each and every event for the process of the unification of Italy. Number 3 is Garibaldi. Garibaldi, he was a machinery, he was a mercenary, and he utilized eventually all the weapons for the process of Italian unification. So even उनको adjective भी दिया जाता. Mazzini is the soul of Italian unification, Cavour is the mind or the brain, and Garibaldi, he is the sword. In fact, Victor Emmanuel II, their king, is considered the wisdom behind the Italian unification. So 4 personality played a very important role along with their king. Mazzini, if we see the case of Mazzini directly, he was born in Genoa. He became part of Carbonari secret society. Later on, he established a famous movement known as Young Italy movement. and this young Italy, they used to advocate Italian unification. Okay, then he also participated in the efforts of unification in 1848. He also joined the Roman Republic after uprisings in northern Italy. When Republic fell, he continued advocating for unification. So Mazzini remains a very important personality for the Italian unification. Then we have Cavour. Okay, Cavour was inspired by nationalism. He used to believe in Risorgimento. Risorgimento means the resurgence of Italians. He was the Prime Minister of Piedmont, Sardinia, and he was going to use both diplomacy as well as war for the purpose of Italian unification. Let us try to understand it. So there was a war which was fought between Russia as well as Britain. Britain and France, they were on the same side and they were fighting against Russia. This war is known as Crimean War. I hope all of you know today Crimea is under the control of Russia, because that's the very important inlay into the Black Sea. और उसको किसी को भी ट्रेड करना तो किसका कंट्रोल चाहिए? क्रीमिया रीजन का चाहिए. So that's Crimea. This war was going on. During this war, he sent few soldiers from Piedmont, Sardinia. Around 18,000 soldiers were sent. ऐसा ही कि हम आपके दोस्त हैं इसलिए भेज रहे हैं. The moment Britain, France won, this war continued from 1853 to 1856. In 1856, Paris Conference was held. In this conference, Cavour internationalized the issue of Italians. He said that the Austrian people are misruling us and we need help from Britain as well as France. So France, it became relatively empathetic towards Italy. यार इन लोगों को कुछ help करते हैं. That's why in 1858 they signed a pact. This pact is known as Lombards Pact. And as per this pact, there was a condition that if Austria is going to fight against Piedmont, Sardinia, then France is going to help it with how many soldiers? 2 lakh soldiers. हम 2 लाख लोगों को भेज देंगे if Austria-Hungary is going to attack Piedmont, Sardinia. So the moment this was signed, Cavour started provocation. उन्होंने troops को mobilize किया towards the Austrian border. Austria gave an ultimatum, but he ignored that, and that's why Austria started the attack in April 1859. The moment the attack started, the help came from Napoleon, okay, Napoleon III, but later on he signed a peace treaty without giving any kind of warning to Piedmont, Sardinia. उन्होंने क्या treaty sign कर लिया with Austria and the Treaty of Villafranca. Cavour was disappointed. He resigned also after this. However, after this fight, they were able to get one of the territory. Austria still retained Venetia, northern part of Italy, the easternmost. Okay, but Lombardy became a part of Piedmont, Sardinia. This was the first war which gave some kind of area to Piedmont, Sardinia. So Lombardy became a part of it. After Lombardy, the major role was played by Garibaldi. Garibaldi, he went to Naples and Sicily. He was able to capture Sicily first, then he also captured Naples, and after that he gave both these territory to the Piedmont, Sardinia. And as a result of this, in 1861, the coronation of the King Victor Emmanuel II was done. However, 2 territories still remained outside their control. One was Venetia. Venetia they got in 1866 when the war was fought by Bismarck against Austria-Hungary. So they also supported. So उस time पे उनको मिल गया. And last comes in 1870. In 1870, France fought a war against Germany, okay, the northern confederation of Germany. In the Battle of Sedan, they got lost. At the same time, Rome was captured by Italy. So Italian unification, it has happened in many parts, and many of them, they are simultaneous with the unification of Germany. That's why we often say that there are so many phases of collaboration between the Italy and the Germans for their unification process. So this is how the unification process ends.
Hi, a very good evening to all of you. I'm Vikas Elawat. I'm a former civil servant. I was able to crack UPSC twice. In fact, in 2018, I was able to get highest marks in history optional, and they were around 324. So this year, I'm coming up with a series which I am calling Self-Study History Optional. इस series में 100 से ज़्यादा वीडियो होने वाले हैं, which are going to cover the different nuances of ancient, medieval, modern as well as world history. So those of you who are preparing for 2025, register करिए and try to get the maximum out of this specific initiative of ours. So at Prep Career IAS, वी आर प्रोड्यूसिंग रिजल्ट फ्रॉम लास्ट मैनी ईयर्स. 2023 में बहुत सारे टॉपर्स हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट से थे. 2022, 21 हर साल बहुत अच्छे टॉपर्स यहाँ से निकले हैं, एंड दे हैव बीन एबल टू गेट वेरी गुड मार्क्स इन हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल. सो दोज ऑफ यू आर थिंकिंग कि यार स्टार्ट करके कितना कर पाएंगे, कितना नहीं कर पाएंगे, वी ऑलरेडी हैव अचीवमेंट्स विद अस. आई वाज एबल टू अचीव, माय स्टूडेंट्स आर अचीविंग, एंड यू कैन बी द नेक्स्ट. इन सेशंस में क्या होने वाला है? नंबर 1 विल बी फोकसिंग ऑन फाउंडेशन ऑफ बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम व्हाट इज हिस्ट्री, व्हाट इज हिस्टोरिकल पीरियड, व्हाट इज प्रोटो हिस्ट्री, व्हाट इज प्री हिस्ट्री, बेसिक लेवल. ओके. सेकंड, अलाइनमेंट विद यूपीएससी सिलेबस. जितना भी हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल का सिलेबस है वो 51 पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड है. सो वी आर गोइंग टू अलाइन ईच एंड एवरी कंसेप्ट विद द सिलेबस इटसेल्फ. नंबर 3 वी आर गोइंग टू फोकस ऑन आंसर राइटिंग. ऑल ऑफ यू नो कि जो मेंस है वो ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं होता है, वो सब्जेक्टिव लेवल पे होता है, और आप सब लोगों को आंसर राइटिंग सीखना शुरू करना पड़ेगा, है ना. वी डू नॉट हैव टू मच ऑफ टाइम, तो स्टार्टिंग से ही आंसर राइटिंग शुरू करेंगे. एंड नंबर 4, द ओवरऑल पैकेज इज़ वेरी हॉलिस्टिक इन नेचर. तो अगर आप इसको अच्छे से कर लेते हैं तो जो बेसिक लेवल फाउंडेशन हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल की वो कंप्लीट हो जाएगी. यू आर गोइंग टू गेट मैनी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स अलॉन्ग विद दिस. ओके. 100+ सेशन है, चारों पार्ट कवर होंगे. थीम वाइज सेग्रीगेटेड डायग्राम, फ्लो चार्ट, जितने भी इंपॉर्टेंट एनसीईआरटीज हैं. देखो अगर हम सारी एनसीईआरटीज को कंबाइन कर दें, एंशिएंट, मिडिवल, मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड ऑफ वेरियस बोर्ड्स ऑफ इंडिया, तो 25 से 26 एनसीईआरटी निकल के आती हैं. उन सबको हमने कोहेरेंट फॉर्म में डिज़ाइन किया है सो दैट यू कैन लर्न द बेस्ट फ्रॉम दैट. ओके. बिकॉज देखो हिस्ट्री में रिसर्चेज चलती रहती हैं. अभी तमिलनाडु की जो एनसीईआरटीज हैं दे आर मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इन कंपेरिजन टू द रीसेंट हिस्ट्री देन द प्रीवियस हिस्ट्री जो कि आर.एस. शर्मा वगैरह, सतीश चंद्रा या फिर बिपिन चंद्रा ने लिखी हैं. दैट्स वाई वी आर कवरिंग ऑल द एनसीईआरटीज, एंड दैट्स वाई 100+ सेशंस हो जा रहे हैं टोटल मिला के. देन 30+ वैल्यू एडेड आपको डॉक्यूमेंट मिलने वाले हैं, डेडिकेटेड आंसर राइटिंग सेशन मिलेंगे, जूम सेशंस भी करेंगे बाद में, ताकि आप लोगों की जितनी भी डाउट्स हों विद रिस्पेक्ट टू लर्निंग दे कुड बी सॉल्व्ड. ओवरऑल जो है आपको क्लास की पीपीटीज मिलेंगी, कंसेप्ट लिस्ट मिलेगा, PYQs, जितने भी PYQs हैं उनको अच्छे से हमने डिज़ाइन कर दिया ताकि आप सब उनको अच्छे से पढ़ सकें. माइंड मैप मिलेंगे पूरे सिलेबस के, वर्कबुक और लर्निंग असाइनमेंट्स मिलेंगे, एंड सेल्फ असेसमेंट टेस्ट, सो दैट वंस यू लर्न समथिंग तो साथ में उसको एटलीस्ट इवेल्युएट भी करना चाहिए ना कि भाई हमें कुछ समझ में आया भी है, नहीं आया, एटलीस्ट जितना रिक्वायर्ड है वहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं या फिर नहीं पहुँचे हैं. तो आपको करना क्या है, व्हाट वी नीड टू डू दैट, सबसे पहले आप रजिस्टर कर लीजिए. ठीक है. आपको एक स्पेसिफिक गूगल शीट मिलेगा, उसमें आप रजिस्टर कर लीजिए. देन एज ऑल ऑफ अस अंडरस्टैंड हर किसी के पास लिमिटेड स्लॉट्स हैं, तो आपको एक स्पेसिफिक कॉल आएगा, एंड दैट इज समथिंग विच वी आर कॉलिंग एट स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस. बिकॉज अगर हमें आपको ये सारी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करनी है, द नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स विच वी कैन हेल्प दे आर ऑलवेज लिमिटेड इन नेचर. सो अकेडमिक काउंसलर इज गोइंग टू कॉल यू, दे गोइंग टू हेल्प यू, और दे गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है. हो सकता है आप कॉलेज के फर्स्ट ईयर में हो, सेकंड ईयर में हो, थर्ड ईयर में हो, और यू मे हैव ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर सम टाइम एंड यू आर नॉट गेटिंग द डिजायर्ड रिजल्ट. तो इसलिए हमें स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस चाहिए होगा. एंड फाइनली ऑन द basis of this, you're going to get the benefit of this program.